think unconditional love is what we need to get us through these turbulent times. And
I think we're heading somewhere really special, though, as humanity.
I'm an optimist. I'm always an optimist, and that's, I think I mentioned it earlier, like the one kind of like feeling that I have about conspiracy that I don't like is the fact that it tends to lead toward, and I remember you said it on one of the podcasts, like, what's a rabbit hole? Like, you're just digging and digging into further and further darkness. Yeah. You know, at some point, you need to just experience the light.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it took me a long time to realize that, because I really thought that all of my great truths were going to be found down rabbit holes, that I just had to like find the right one. But I realized I was losing myself down all the rabbit holes. And then I realized there's no light down there. We're just digging farther and farther away from the light. So.
And our purpose is just to have fun together, enjoy each other.
Too. I think that we're so wrapped up. God, we could start a whole other podcast, like, cut, let's go to the next one. But yeah, I think our purpose in life.
I might make this 2 parts. Sorry.
You might have to. You really might have to. Because I remember you saying on your other podcast that you don't like to go past a certain time. And I was like, wow, we blew past that a long time ago. But yeah, I think that there's like, to have fun and to be joyful and to be like true creative masters of a certain thing. Like, there's a reason people used to be named baker and shoemaker, and like, it's because
Smith
and silversmith, woodsmith, like these names that are so popular. It's because they were professions, because they were artistries. We did not toil all day pushing numbers on an Excel spreadsheet to go home and medicate ourselves and get up the next day and do it all again and do it all again and do it all again and then take our 2 weeks vacation. No, like, I really think that we are meant, the true human endeavor is to first find your gift, because we all have our own gift. All of us, like, they're all different. And some of us have, sharing, overlapping gifts, but we all have our unique thing that only we can do, our unique take on
frequency of light that is our DNA.
100%. We have a unique representation that we need to find or first discover. And then once that's discovered, and that's a process, discovery, but I think once that's discovered, we have to share it generously. That's step 1, is discover it, step 1, and then share it generously as step 2. And through that generous sharing, we learn it, we hone it, we sharpen it, we master it. And then once we get to a point of mastery and a point that we've shared our mastery and other people can potentially learn from it, I think then, like, you can be compensated, whatever it is, whatever form of artistry that takes, whatever form of creative endeavor that takes, or like personal endeavor. And creativity is everything. Like, engineers are creative, you don't have to be like a musician to be an artist. You don't have to be like a painter to be an artist. You don't have to be a writer to be a creator. Like, we all have to
love the Toltec. You're going to love the Toltec.
I think I am. Just from the summaries that you've sent, I'm already like, I'm digging it.
Literally, the word Toltec means artist.
Oh, wow.
Artist of the spirit, artist of life. Like, life itself is an art. But you don't have to be a painter or a musician. Like, the way that you live your life, the way that you speak, the way that you walk, the way that your mannerisms, that is your life's art.
That's interesting. I've been thinking about that a lot lately, and I'm moving into like a new phase of my life. I'm basically crumbling a current iteration of my life. I'm like putting that to bed, and I'm moving. There's like every basic life thing that you can have. I'm moving away from it, and I'm starting a new life, but towards this new path of authenticity that I've found recently. And I'm heading in this, and I'm eschewing all the things and taking off all the things that I thought were like my badges of honor. But what they really are just like prisons that I've created for myself, and like these identities that I've created for myself. And I have, I'm this, and I'm this, and I've done this. And it's like, none of that's really me. None of that really reflects me. It's just these like, I don't know, it's like this false reality that I've created for myself, and I live behind this artifice. And through my Twitter, I talk about being authentic and being real and getting into reality and getting away from unreality. And I myself was living in like a fabrication of, like, I wasn't even being true to myself. And I was like, okay, well, and that's the biggest the biggest takeaway is like, you have to walk the walk if you're going to talk the talk. And you talk about not living in fear, but yet a lot of your decisions are based on fear, and you're not making decisions because you're fearful. I was telling that to myself, and I realized that at any moment, all of us, at any time, we are just one decision away from an entirely new life. And I just needed to, if I wanted to live a more authentic life, I just really needed to start making decision after decision heading in that direction. And it didn't take that many, and I am living a new life now. And it's like all those things that I thought that were so tethering and anchoring, there was no way. And if I do this, and everyone's going to think something of me. And if I do that, everyone's going to think something of me. And oh no. And then I was like, what do I care what they think? And they're probably not even gonna think that. They don't even think about me at all. You know, it's like, and so what I realized is all those, exactly. And I think that when you live with authenticity and you make decisions outside of fear, there's like, people around you have nothing to do but accept it. Like I don't know. I think there's like I think the gates, we think that these locked doors are like dead bolted shut and like we can never cross through. But like once you really start moving in that direction and like just live.
That's the thing. When I see all these conspiracy accounts putting all this like dark conspiracy stuff, and some of it has a lot of truth to it, but it's the tone behind it that I don't like. And it's like, if it's really that bad, then how does your account exist?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think about that with, you know, we hold these, you know, when the Epstein Island was with the pedogate, all that stuff. And I was really caught in that. And I believe that there's bad things that happen in life. I do believe that there's darkness in the real world. I know that that's true because I know light exists, and so darkness does exist as well. But I think that sometimes we get projected a really extreme version, just so the horrors will exist in our mind. And once they take root in our mind and we believe that these things are happening, then they're just as good as existing. Like if they exist in our mind, even if it doesn't actually happen in the real world, which I think some of these stories are like way overblown hyper projections of things that actually do take place, but like we're like blinded by this projection of it. I realized like how much darkness I was living in. I was like, God, is that really what I want to do? I want the real estate in my brain to be all about like pedogate, Pizzagate. Like that was, I mean, I was like obsessed with that. And same thing with John Bonet, Little Dead Girl. Like I was like her getting murdered, and I was obsessed, and I thought that she was connected. You know, there's a picture of John Bonet and just Ghislaine Maxwell in a photograph together.
What they're doing is they're taking something good in you, a part of you that wants
the truth,
righteousness and goodness in the world, and they're perverting it.
Yeah, they're perverting it. And they do. I think that what you mentioned with conspiracy theorists and conspiracy theories, I think that theories are good, well-meaning, intelligent, truth-seeking people. And that element is hijacked because we want the truth. And we know it's not quite right. We know that the truth that they're telling us, that the lowercase truth, the fabricated truth, we know that is not quite right. It doesn't sit right with us. And so we go off trying to find the real truth. And what we don't realize is that we have been peppered with these rabbit holes. Like these rabbit holes have been dug for us to dive down and to lose ourselves down. And we never really question like the earth beneath the table that we're on, like the playing field. We never question the validity of the playing field itself. We just keep trying to dig it up, you know? And so I think that the conspiracy theories, I think that if you're a conspiracy theorist, I don't think you should ever feel bad about yourself. That you should feel proud that you have that mind, that you have the desire to find the truth.
Some of the ones that I feel that way about are more brilliant than me and have more information than me.
I do wonder, like we are so strong in our, like if people were just guided in the right direction, think of all the cool things that we could do, because so many really smart people are pointing their light in the wrong way, in the wrong direction. And if they
wrong, I don't like using the word wrong because it's their choice. But
I'm sorry, yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's not wrong either.
But I understand what you mean because they are deceived.
Right.
It's not that they mean for it to be in
Right.
this misguided.
And I think it's well-meaning.
The word.
Just like I was well-meaning for my, when I did my
I feel
early.
the same way, incredibly misguided.
Yeah, well-meaning but misguided. And I'm not to say that I'm sure I'm misguided on a million things that I can't even think of, that I can't even think of. Like I don't even know where all my misconceptions lie. But I'm really trying to take it away from the conspiratorial angle where I'm believing in the big bad state and I'm believing in my powerlessness and giving my power away to like the big bad deep shadowy state. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's like, how do
whenever I get in that like mind state of like the big powerful AI technocratic globalist state,
yeah,
I think like, how would existence exist without love?
wouldn't
Some people use the word God, but like I feel like the real word for God is actually even love. Like they take love and they pervert it. Like that's what occult knowledge is. That's what numerology is they're taking love and they're learning how the frequencies work and how
Is there a color for love? Is there a color frequency for like the emotion of love? I think that'd be really interesting. Is that
I don't know. I have no idea. I think
like pure white light or something.
A choice. Yeah, I think it's also like I think there can be a loving black light.
True. I'm pro darkness. I think if darkness is the absence of false light, then darkness any day, for sure.
The yin yang has been perverted. Like I agree with you that I appreciate darkness. A lot of times it's perverted to where it's like good and evil. And it's like I don't even really believe in good and evil, but in the fact that I don't think good and evil are foundational. I think what good and evil really are is the result of
like a symptom of the system is good and evil.
Seeing truth and living in truth is good, is what we call good, and being infected by lies or the mind virus, like we were alluding to earlier, like that is what we call evil because it's perverting us from just aligning with what is true and what is real and what is love, and all of that is beyond symbols, but these symbols, truth and love, we kind of have this like generalized understanding of what that means, but to like really embrace that on a deep level is like very, very peaceful.
It is. Yeah. And some people, I feel, we don't experience, like if our parents aren't loved, we're not going to be, like that. It's interesting. Yeah. It really, our idea about love and our ability to love ourselves, it happens through like if you're not born into that, it's hard to learn that, and it might take an entire lifetime to learn, but
intention is really the key to all
everything. Intention,
like knowledge that we were just talking about. Like I think all of that could be used to create a beautiful world, like numerology.
Yes, take back these symbols. And occult does not mean bad either. Occult just means powerful guiding. Yeah. I think I need to start a cult, and I think we all need to start a cult. A good cult, though.
Right. What is even the word cult? Like, isn't that just
it's been taken from us
on any group of people that aren't going along with their cult?
Yeah.
I mean, they're a fucking cult. And now you're starting to see with the breakdown of society, everybody's just calling everybody a cult just because it's a bad word. But it's like,
and I think that we've been shown cults that don't really exist. I think that we've been like shown these cult stories that like Heaven's Gate. I mean, if you're into the purples and you are familiar with Heaven's Gate cult, if you just Google Heaven's Gate, like every single picture is purple. And I wonder, because Heaven's Gate was all about basically like living off kind of like this, like getting away from like the structures of society, becoming like a really beautifully love-based way of thinking and way of guiding, and like that's the story. But also it was they were killing each other. Like there was also like this drinking of the Kool-Aid or like some sort of self-destruction. But I wonder. I wonder if it was a fake, if it was a way to like scare us off from cults. Like they give us this idea of what a cult is, and it's like horrible, you know, and like everyone's dying with the Kool-Aid and all this stuff, and like everyone's like, it's really, you know, sexually perverted, and you know, like people are
this authoritarian leader who's gonna make the rules and kill you.
And then kill everybody because it's all like negative or whatever. Like everyone's just gonna like suicide pact, and I think that if we hear the word cult, then that's immediately what comes to our mind. This sort of like really detrimental, psychopathic experience when it's really just anything that's counterculture, any sort of group or movement that's against the approved societal norm. But yeah, I do think that there's a way to live life that is just so different than what we're doing right now. I feel it in my bones, and I think I've always felt it. And I think a lot of us have always felt it, that we're just not quite jiving. We're not quite in tune with this reality around us. And I did feel that my whole life. I remember being in school and like looking at just, yeah.
What is indigo?
Indigo is almost like a greenish blue. No, blue, indigo, violet. It's almost like let me look it up. It's almost like a transitional from light blue to dark blue. But let me see.
You ever heard of indigo children?
Yes, I have heard of indigo children. My Maria, she's one of my favorite podcasters. She's really big into the idea of rainbow children, indigo children. So indigo is the color lying between blue and violet. It's still not purple. Sometimes if you Google it, it's represented by purple, but it's not purple at all. It's just a really rich blue, like dark denim. Dark denim is known as, like, if you think about blue jeans.
Indigo, like, do you think that shade is like used to blend, like, because I don't know.
It's like an octave change.
A lot of my podcast, but I think there's some conspiracy theorists out there that are literally meant to kind of blend the truth and the lies.
It's like an octave change. You know how like
us sound crazy.
Yeah, and I think blue, indigo, violet into purple. It's like when you do an octave change from you're literally going into a new, but you're starting back at the bottom. Like you're progressing to a new state, but somehow like you have ended back at the bottom, like with the music. You know, you're still going up the scale, but you've started over again somehow, even though you're somehow higher. You're higher in both restarting. And I think indigo is one of those transitional, it's like preparing, it's just before the leap, just before the transitional state of going for that octave change. So there might be some sort of like, kind of like stop force on indigo, like they don't want you to make the leap up to the next level or something.
Like you're an indigo child, they just can't fuck with you no matter what.
Yeah, maybe you're immune. You're immune to you're in the middle. You're pre-illusion and you're at the top of the scale. You know.
You're an '80s baby, right?
I'm an '80s baby. Yep, 85.
We are the generation that needs to start speaking our truth, because, like, you know, I don't know what year you were born. I'm 89, so I'm like at the back end of it. But like with me, I was raised with the internet, but I was also like just old enough to where when I was young, the internet was too slow to like be sucked into it like a zombie.
Totally. Yeah, I'm 85, and so I remember.
I grew up outside.
Huh? You what?
I grew up outside. Like.
Yeah, I remember I grew up outside. I wasn't. You know, we had a personal computer growing up, but like you were not on the computer. And
right.
Yeah, and I remember it was interesting having like the pre-internet life, because I think that we have the beautiful vantage point of seeing both. We understand what it means to be untethered by the cellular devices. You know, we remember what it's like to remember a phone number. I remember like we could remember our friends' phone numbers. Now I can't remember.
Your first phone, you actually had to do the finger dial thing.
You did? You had a rotary dial? Yeah, my grandma had a rotary dial, and I thought that was the coolest thing. You just like, you know, like they'll make that little sound. And
I was like 5 or 6 when we got rid of it, but I was like old enough, you know, I remember.
It's so tedious. You'd be like, I mean, kids these days have no idea what to do. Can you imagine like showing a kid trying to dial on that? They'd be like, what the what's happening? Like waiting, yeah. And kids don't even know what a dial tone is. Like that. There's no dial.
So hard when I heard you make the dial tone sound and then
the dial up.
I was laughing so hard. In one of my episodes, in the tripod, we're having the same conversation about the internet, and I do the same thing you did, where I make the dial.
Like that was such a I remember listening to that, and like sometimes it would let you on, and then sometimes it wouldn't, and so you'd be listening for like like let me
if it connected or if it didn't, and it was like it would fuck with your anxiety. You call it anxiety
for sure. And there were sometimes you couldn't get on AOL, and that was the first one. Like the internet was AOL for me. Like I didn't know the internet outside of AOL and AOL Instant Messenger. It's so funny. And then I was like, oh, there's an internet too. Yeah, so funny.
Well, you are a beautiful person, mind and soul, and I appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me on. This was a beautiful discussion. I've learned. I feel happier. I feel joyous. I'm ready to take on the week. I'm excited. Awesome. I'm moving. I'll get my keys tomorrow. This is a transitional day. Yeah, transitional.
Are you gonna be in Texas still?
Yeah, I'm staying in Texas. Just doing I'm downsizing in every way, shape, and form you can. So I'm trying to just be lighter in spirit, lighter in physical. Life can get really heavy. Life can get heavy. We carry a lot of stuff with us all the time, and I'm just trying to do the opposite and see what happens. And it's been good so far. So we'll see how that continues. I'm not quite ready to live in like a camper van, and travel the world like that. A lot of people are doing that, and I think that that's really admirable. But I'm not quite ready for that. But I'm definitely trying to live lighter, live less materialistic, and be just less tethered to the machine, I guess, in a way. Yeah.
Yeah. The machine, the machine that is ruled by.
We power it too, though. We power the machine.
I think that the machine that's above, and it kind of, harks back to the conspiracy talk that we were just having. It's like, I think that the true power is love, right? So no matter how much that they try to like take the truth of love and the science of love and the frequencies of love and deceive that and try to like be the God and create their own tech God, no matter how much they try to do that, like the light is going to win no matter what. Like I heard an analogy one time. It's like you can take a little candle into a room full of darkness, and if you light the candle, the whole room is illuminated. The opposite doesn't work. Like if you go into a well-lit room and it's full of light and full of joy and full of energy, you can take any amount of darkness you want and it's not going to do a damn thing.
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, I like that. It's true. Yeah, there's a higher power to a true joyous light than to bringing darkness. But yeah, you mentioned the yin yang symbol, and I think it's the swirling division. The swirl is the tiny bit of light in the dark and the tiny bit of dark in the light, and those two little points are chasing each other for all of time. And I wonder if there's a point, the yin yang symbol is peace, but it's like, how can it be peace? Because there's still a little bit of darkness in the light and still a little light in the darkness. And I wonder if there's ever a time where we could be like just pure light or pure darkness. I don't know. But I wonder if that's even good, or do we need the tiny bit of darkness in our overwhelming joyous light, and then the hope of like the tiny bit of light in our overwhelming darkness? Do we require that? Does the world require that? I don't know. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely a symbol that speaks to me. Have you ever heard of the movie Kymatica?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I haven't seen it, but people have recommended, like, that's it's on my list of things I need to see. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the word Kymatica basically is like the yin yang in action, like not just the symbol, but like the reality of the yin yang that
the swirling division of energy. Yeah. We talked about polarity, and the yin yang symbol is polarity. It's the extreme darkness and the extreme pure light, and then a tiny drop of each, within the other, and then that, and it's circular. It's almost like two. Yeah, and it rotates. Yeah, it's spinning.
The GIF, right, with the ball, and it's.
Oh, I love that! I shared that today. I shared that GIF today. Someone else posted it, and I love that gift because it does. It shows the
yin yang in present time.
In the juxtaposition of the
in real
two.
time.
Yeah, taking it into 3D space, which is my favorite thing, taking those 2D flat things and representing them in 3D space and seeing, and it still represents the same thing. You know, it's still that little bit chasing. It's like, and it also represents kind of like the symbol of my favorite symbol, most important symbol I ever look into is the Ouroboros, which is the snake eating its own tail. Which is that symbol of the snake like wrapping around itself, and also represented sometimes in the infinity symbol, but still like a snake. And the yin yang is kind of like that. It's like the chasing of the opposite end, with the Ouroboros is the snake constantly chasing its tail, and then like, you know, I think of it as deception. When the snake eats its own tail, it's like this deception wrapping around itself, wrapping in of itself, and kind of collapsing from within. Anyway, yeah, I like that symbol. I see it represented in a lot of places, and I always try to. I think it represents a lot of what I go into with these things all connecting, and the deceptions all connecting. And if it's woven from the deception, then you're going to see it represented here and there, and they're going to connect not out of truth, but out of deception. And then
they're definitely good at what they do. These dark sorcerers.
These dark artists, yeah. We can be better though. We can be better.
All it takes is awareness, and then the real key is coming together, because we have a lot of aware people.
Intentionality, like you said, pure, because we know what our intentions are. You know, like, you know, when you're entering into something with a pure heart. You know, when you're not entering into something with a pure heart, and nothing good can happen when you're leading with a personal deception. Just nothing fruitful will come from that, like spoiled ground, you know. But if you lead with pure intention, the opposite is true, but it's not just the opposite. It's like the possibilities are absolutely endless for what you can do when you lead with like a pure intention lead with that. Yeah. But like, you're really limited when all you have is your deception.
And that's why awareness is key.
Yeah, for sure.
Awareness, and then once you have the awareness, then it's key what you choose to do with it, and that's where intention comes into play.
Because it can be overwhelming once you're aware of all this stuff and you're seeing it everywhere. It can be like, I get overwhelmed. I sometimes I look at the news and I see the purples, and even I get overwhelmed by the deception, and I'm like, yeah. There's some days where I don't even post because I don't even know where to begin. I'm like, where do I even start with this? Like, I'm overwhelmed. I can't even imagine like what people are who are just getting into it and experiencing, and like they don't understand it yet. And it's like, oh, am I sowing like darkness in some way because I'm sharing these things and people are getting stressed out in their own life?
You're lighting up the darkness, right? So that's
that's what I think.
Yeah, I mean, if you just let the darkness do its thing, it's just going to get darker. You know, you have to face it, and that you have to light it up. And so, yes, you are kind of showing people darkness, but you're showing it to them, and that's the key. That you're lighting it up.
That's what I think. At the end of the day,
it's up to them what they do.
I've got like a little lantern inside. Like, I've got a little lantern that I'm holding, that I'm using to light my own journey. And sometimes it burns really bright. Like, I'll share a bunch of stuff and I really feel like my lantern is burning bright enough that other people can see it from far away. And like, oh, what's she finding over there? You know, and they can come see what I'm discovering. Like, I can shine my light bright enough to where others can see too. Hopefully that's because if that's not like, what's the point of all the, you know, I spend a lot of time on Twitter. What's the point of all of it? But it's cool that there's like a platform that I don't have to pay for and nobody else has to pay for to like get some really cool information. And I like that. I wonder what the future is. I don't know if Twitter is going to be like the end all be all of what human vibration is and like where I land. I hope to make it something that extends a little bit outside of Twitter, because Twitter is kind of limiting. A lot of people don't have it. But right now it's just like, it's my little safe space. It's my little corner of the digital universe, the digital landscape, my little like shining light, a tiny little well-lit corner in the dark recesses of Twitter, is what I think about when I like, you know, when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, check in with Twitter, see what I'm going to do today. I do feel like there is something bright, that I can add to it, to all the deception and all the darkness.
I really appreciate what you're doing. Thank you again for coming on. I think that, again, that you're a beautiful person in mind, body, and spirit.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.